Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 show brought to you by Fran Coach. I am Tim Parmeter, and with me as always is Danielle Wright.
That's me.
Every week on the Franchising 360 show, we are going to take a 360 degree look at the franchising industry. We will discuss things like what you need to know to determine if you should own a franchise. If so, how do you find the best one for you to own? Tips to succeed once you are a franchise owner, as well as how to take your existing business and turn it into a franchise. So who the heck are we? Well, Danielle has been in the industry for over 15 years, working on the franchisor side in development, numerous executive roles, and for the last 5 years, she's been consulting brands on strategic and responsible growth. I've been in the industry for over 11 years as the founder and CEO of Fran Coach, which is the premier franchise consulting firm. Our number one goal, individually, collectively, and with this show is to help properly educate people on this amazing, yet sometimes misunderstood industry of franchising. That's us. What we're going to talk about today is a week or so ago, we discussed kind of from a franchisor's side. You've taken your business, you've turned it into a franchise. Then what's next? But now let's think about this we're thinking about becoming a franchise owner, and we do that great thing. We sign a franchise agreement, and now what? Just poof, we're open and we're making millions of dollars, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, that was the show, so it was great. So there's, on our side on Fran Coach, we probably hear that a little bit more than the franchisor side of the understanding what's next, and people have no concept how many things there are from signing until open.
Yeah. Well, depending upon the brand, depending upon what you buy, there's a lot of steps, but that's what you're getting a franchise for, right?
Is kind of the help to know what
I think so.
Know what to do.
But I could just take your money and have you sign this legal document for 10 years and then you figure it out.
Yes, there might be one or two out there like that. We don't talk to them very much.
You may not. I do. I love it. Yeah.
But it is, there's so many different things. And is it a brick and mortar franchise, a non-brick and mortar franchise? There's a licensing involved. There's a whole ton of things that go with this. So we're going to kind of give people an insight as to what the heck is next, right?
Yeah, I think so. We're going to surmise
we'll find out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we'll check back in 20 minutes to see if we've done that or not. But it is Friday.
Yes.
And we do this is franchising.
Yes.
And we like fun facts. So Friday's franchise fun fact.
Yes.
With Danielle.
Yeah. I feel like to you by nobody,
right,
as you say.
Right. So, what do we got for us tonight?
Got a lot of facts, because we show up and where are we going with these conversations? So I think the one that was sitting for me today, we've had a lot of people ask what's the next best thing, right? With the economy being the way that it is, the ugly word of tariffs, do I really want to own a franchise? And oddly enough, I'm going to give you two facts. Okay. One, the segment that is having the most growth currently, as we're speaking today, 2025, is health, wellness, and beauty.
That's three things.
I know, but it's a category of health, wellness, and beauty. Right. So anything that is boutique fitness, the cryotherapy, we see a lot of red light therapies, saunas, all of those things. On top of it, I had said lashes, and you're like, people still do that? I said, apparently so. People still do that. So it's definitely the vertical that people are investing more. But when we're talking economy, we also need to remind ourselves that franchises contribute about $800 billion to the U.S. economy.
Billion with a B.
Yeah. I don't think I said that wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
But it just, I want to.
800 and a lot of zeros after.
Yes. Or we just put a B and then it makes it.
Right. And then it also employs about 8 million people in the industry itself. So not just what we do, but think about the employees that work for franchisees and the franchisors out in the market.
Whether it's the person making your sandwich or the person fixing your plumbing, from a franchise. It's crazy. And the health, wellness, and beauty is, I always want to point out, that is growing and it's not going anywhere because I think, number one, we like looking better, feeling better about ourselves.
Yeah, we have it's FOMO, right?
Right.
Who's not on social media all the time? You're on it. Yeah, right. So what do you see? Like, you see these things and...
I see a lot of golf stuff.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure mine's going to blow up with a lot of health, wellness, and beauty, but we've got the red light therapies and the masks and all of these things. Like, we want to, just like the world at large, we want to feel better about ourselves. We, like, eat better, we work out, like we are trying to be more physically fit, because there was a period of time where we weren't. Like, we were just sitting around, and I think that was like 5 years ago to be exact.
Right. Maybe it's 5 minutes ago too for some of us, but no, it's huge. No, it doesn't mean that's the best franchise for somebody to own, but it just shows how many different sectors and all, like, are continuing to move forward.
And I think that's where you and I are different, right? You're going to always see let me not give such a blanket statement. You, Tim Parmeter, and Fran Coach tend to look at it as like, hey, this may not be the right thing for everybody to own, but I also challenge, like, it's a good thing to own. It's not, there are very few negatives I see about that industry, unless you're just, a middle-aged bald man that does not care about health, wellness, and beauty. So
it takes a lot of work to get this look. So years of ignoring it, basically. But no, there's so many great things out there, and that may be something people at least have some awareness of versus some of the other ones. But really, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I don't care what's going on. This industry, like, just keeps on ticking and growing. Yeah. So, I want to hit up, come back to, you signed a franchise agreement, and now what? So we're going to talk about that here next on the Franchising 360 show right after this. Hey everyone, we're back on the Franchising 360 show. I'm Tim Parmeter with Danielle Wright. Danielle, we're going to talk tonight about, we've signed a franchise agreement.
Okay.
Now what? Before getting open. Maybe a quick reminder, before they ever sign a franchise agreement, that's a little bit of a process as well, correct? Like, they're going through, on the franchisor side, how long might that take to figure out that that's even the right fit again?
On the franchisor side, you're spending about 8 to 12 weeks of research time, trying to make sure that you're piecing all of the things together, attending what they call a discovery day or a meet the team day, or we call it a decision day. There are 1,000 things we call it. But that's where you're going to corporate or having some type of meeting with executive leadership with the brand. But that's where that ends. And then they do a formal award.
Correct. Right. And so now you've gone through all of that. You are a franchise owner. We hear this on our side with Fran Coach sometimes as people are going through this. There's the myth a little bit of sign the franchise agreement and then open, which is not even remotely the case. But talk about maybe from a franchise agreement standpoint first. There's typically some sort of language in there as to a timeline to be open. I know it can vary from brand, but there's always at least something in there about that, correct?
I believe so. I don't want to blanket, I know every franchise, every FDD, everything.
Ones, right.
So the thing that you haven't been saying is it's not just sign the franchise agreement. You have to pay a franchise fee.
Right.
So some people can sign a franchise agreement, get started on things, and not yet have paid the fee. So let's be crystal with everybody here. You are not a franchise owner until both actions have occurred. Now, they can happen simultaneously, but they generally happen with 24, 48 hours of each other. I can sign a document real nice. It's real easy. We make it all electronic. But sending the franchise fee is really the thing that gets you kicked off and going. Nothing happens until that money is collected.
Yeah, and so let's maybe think of this from because we talked about industries and health, wellness, and beauty and fitness earlier. Those are almost always brick and mortar locations. So we've got all of the real estate stuff. If I sign a franchise agreement today, give me just a ballpark estimate. How long is it going to take me to get that open?
Okay, with retail, I would tell anybody that's going to have a retail storefront, dependent upon the size of the box. Smaller, you could probably get 6 to 8 months. Middle of the road, we're talking 2,500 to 3,500 square feet. It could be 8 to 12 months. Anything larger than that, it's going to take you, because the piece that you have no control over and no franchise is ever going to be able to have control over is the accessibility to the real estate you need. Unless you go like from a Chick-fil-A model or a McDonald's model where they are a real estate firm first.
Correct.
And they backfill into where they have opportunities with owners, which is kind of genius, but you could be waiting around for a long time before you find the right person. Yeah. But you were talking about like, hey, here are the steps. What happens from a Fran Coach perspective? How I would caution you, but how in depth do you go once they sign something?
No, and that typically is kind of where our relationship ends. It's kind of where we get dumped at that point, because now they have the franchise.
Dumped is the word. You get transition.
They transition. It's a much better word. But it's more of, than just like you said when you answered that, there's not a specific answer. Oh, it's going to take 7 months, 3 days, and 4 hours.
There's so many variables.
So many variables. But you at least know you're probably if you were, everything hit perfectly in one of those situations, it's probably 6 months until you're open. What are some of the things, obviously real estate, which, we're going to talk more about that here in a couple of weeks. There's the real estate side of things of finding it and building out all of that. Oh, aside from real estate, what are some things that franchise owner is going to be doing during that 6 month plus until they're open?
There's a lot of hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
A colleague of mine just had said the same thing, and it does truly ring true. With what happens is I can go really fast and then have nothing to do when I'm sitting here waiting.
Right.
Or you can pace it out. So depending upon the franchise, the growth of the franchise, where it is in its growth cycle. I have a few owners. I have a lot of owners. The steps are pretty clear, but a lot of the times when you're dealing with these larger investments that do take this time, you've got training, like how do I run the business? And not just me. Now I need a manager. The manager needs to attend training. In the health, wellness, and beauty, I have some form of employee that needs brand specific training. You need to create an entity. Like if you haven't created an entity, you need to find an accountant. Holy moly. Why? Well, you need to set up a QuickBooks. How do you do that? Right. How do I learn the software system? So time is actually
email and a login for the new email.
Time is actually a blessing. So when a lot of people that go into brands that can say, I can get you open in 3 months, that's great. You're so overwhelmed, and there's so many things that I'm sure you heard during the discovery process, but it wasn't clicking for you.
Or you heard it and didn't realize there were actually 14 sub bullets underneath there, right?
So a lot of brands divided into phases based on where you are.
There's kind of that onboarding component, right? And I'm sure on your side you've seen this too, but I've seen some brands that have had, kind of that onboarding checklist, and there's like over 100 items on there. And that doesn't, and again, that doesn't.
It's the minutia. Like we were talking micro, macro, like you don't really understand those words, but it really gets down to the very smallest of details, like telephone number. Do people still have those?
Right.
Yes, you do. Like it doesn't necessarily mean that Southern Belle is coming in and putting up the phone. I can be old too.
No, but it's all like, or just, having the micro website and just every little bit of it. There's so much. And I want to get on a little bit more of some of the specifics to that when we come back here on the Franchising 360 show, talking about what next once you sign a franchise agreement, right after this. Welcome back to the Franchising 360 show. I'm Tim Parmeter with Danielle Wright. Talking about, I just signed a franchise agreement. Yay. Now what? What about on those franchises that don't require a brick and mortar, right? So we don't have 6 to 12 plus months of finding and building out and all of the things that go with that. Maybe it's a home service or it's a senior care franchise, something like that. Like I can be open like tomorrow, right? No, not so much, because there's still tons of things that go on with that as well.
Yeah, there's business licensing. You can't offer a service if you're not registered with the state to be able to offer said service, right? So, I mean, again, it goes back to the minor, small details you need. So I've signed, I've sent my money, I'm talking to you like, yay, I've sent my money, but the franchise hasn't reached out to me. What do I do? Right. I think people think instantly once they wire that money, like, hey, here we are. No, let's remind ourselves they've got a handful of franchise owners coming on at the same time. We've got 100 other franchisees that we're supporting at the same time. Like, I get your urgency and excitement that you just cut someone a very large check, generally 5 figures, that you're like, okay, now what? What do I do? I need something to do.
Coming out. I'm
like, oh my God, what did I? And then you're going to get the whole, I've told a lot of them, you call it a pucker moment. And I'm like, you get oh crap, what did I do?
What did I just do?
And I don't know that I want to do that now. Like, okay, so for us on the franchisor side, it's keeping that excitement and keeping them going. So it's getting a kickoff call scheduled and getting them introduced to their operations support because on my side, I'm not with you for the life of it. I'm sorry. I'm still connected to a lot of franchise owners I've placed, but it's time for the people that are going to help you do the real stuff. Like, here's your email address is generally the first thing. No one feels like they're real until they're like, I've got the brand email. Here I am. Great. I don't need anything else. I got the email.
And it seems silly, but how many times have you had somebody email you once they've gotten that email?
Oh no, because I'm on the different side. I think maybe you did.
Yeah, we'll get like literally just not too long ago, like it was, hey, check out my new email, right? I'm like, it's cool. Maybe seems silly until you're in it.
Validates.
Like, whew, okay.
Great, you just paid $60,000 for an email.
Owner.
Fantastic.
I have an email signature that says I
have an email. Wow, great. Now what?
That says you're a franchise owner. And then part of that, like the whole discovery process and meeting the team, now it's like you're really going to start working with them, and you may have multiple people that you are talking to. Maybe it's somebody like tech or operations and somebody from a marketing standpoint.
Or a lot of times they have a direct onboarding coordinator. Depends. Again, we're talking about different life cycles of franchise organizations. So if you're going with a bigger one that's been around for a while, they have a clear, here is your checklist of things, and that's like all of a sudden very overwhelming. But there's a coordinator that has that call with you every week. Like, this was your homework. And I'm a big fan of the homework. Yes. Like, here's your homework. You complete these tasks. If you had any problems, bring it to that weekly call. We'll address it all then. So it goes in a very timely, structured format. Yeah. Some just like, here's your training guide, and here's the people you need to call to order this, that, and the other. Done. See you later. And that should scare you. Should scare you a lot.
But you should have been able to figure that out in the process. And some people may like a little bit more of that, right?
I mean, we can speak to, like, we've vetted franchises. We have owned franchises. We didn't necessarily do all the vetting that we should have done.
Yeah, because we're like, we're smart. We'll just do it ourselves.
I don't know that it was smart. It's just like, we just assumed, which is always bad.
Right.
Like, don't assume. Ask the questions.
But in theory, even when you're thinking of, you mentioned like, hey, this is where you go to order things. Like, you're not trying to figure out, in most cases,
right.
You shouldn't be figuring out, like, hey, where do I buy the napkins? Or I got to get a vehicle, so let me go down here to Bob's Automotive. Like,
unless the franchise tells you to do that, right? Like, some will tell you you're likely, when it comes to a computer system, some are very particular about, hey, I need a Windows operating system for the back of the house, and this is what you get. You can run your butt over to Best Buy or Walmart or wherever it is you want to go. And some want a very specific type of system that can run in a very specific way.
Yeah. I think those are some of the behind the scenes things for people trying to find the best franchise too. It's like, sometimes people like that overwhelming amount of support, and others may feel a little like smothered by it. And so trying to be able to kind of figure out those differences are key.
Let's kind of talk about the negatives, right? Have you ever placed somebody in a franchise that they went days and weeks without, now what's? Well, here's next.
Yeah, I think, well, and to your point, like, if it takes more than 5 minutes, there are going to be people that are like, okay, well, now what? Let's go, right? Yeah, and we had somebody not too long ago, was a client from 2018, 2019, started a franchise, and he was very overwhelmed from his corporate days of just felt smothered, and he wanted a franchise with maybe a little looser internal systems. Found it, loved it, like literally owns a whole state for that particular brand now. Then he came back for the next thing, and he's like, I want the opposite of that. Right. And so it was just different kind of points in time for people.
So it didn't take him to a negative space.
It wasn't
Have you
negative.
Had anybody go negative? Like, hey, now I want out because I'm not getting what I thought I was going to be getting.
Yeah. And when I tell you that it's probably more fear than, or maybe somewhere in there weren't the right expectations set up of, like, I think if you're sitting there waiting for the franchise to do everything for you, cause I know you're on that side, like, we ain't doing it all, right? It's the plan.
We're going to do a lot, but we're going to do exactly what we told you through the discovery process.
Right.
I'm going to give it all away on the first couple of dates. Like, here it is.
I can't log into
but I'm not going
your
to
email
tell you,
for
like,
you.
you're going to, yes, I can't troubleshoot your tech. I am not IT support. Like, that's just not my jam.
Or we're not there for you at 9 o'clock at night because that's when you happen to get to it.
Yeah.
Maybe we wait until the following day. So sometimes it's those expectations of it. So, want to finish this up, when we come back on kind of what's next. There's that excitement, but also a little, like, it can be a little fear moment with that once you sign a franchise agreement. The rest of that is next on the Franchising 360 show. Welcome back to the Franchising 360 show. Talking tonight about you have signed the franchise agreement and then now what? All of the different things before getting open. And you do this all the time when you're talking to people in that position. What's maybe one main piece of advice that you think you would just kind of let people know as they're going through all of that?
Ask the questions. If you get any pushback, then that should tell you about the relationship with your franchise that you have just are getting ready to, or you have signed an agreement with them. But they're going to appreciate the questions in the sense of detail, and just realize that sometimes it's okay to have a little anxiety in and around what you just did.
It's all brand new.
But if they've awarded franchises before, I'm going to kind of say they know what they're doing.
Right.
Like, just trust in the process, and it may not move at the pace that you want it to, but patience apparently is a word that people do not exhibit today.
Really?
Patience. I know. I wonder.
I mean, we have tons of it, but everybody else.
I can speak to that. I do. I can't validate for you.
Tons of patience. No, but I think building that relationship is why this is such a long process, building that relationship with the people within that brand. And also know that anytime you're trying to go too fast, the fact that they may slow you down a little bit is actually for your good, because you're not missing anything and then getting open, then going, oh crap, I wish I would have done this and this.
Oh, I've got a good story about that. I had someone so anxious about signed. I'm going to be open in 6 months. I'm going to do this when it's a general 8 to 12 month process. I said, I don't know that they slammed in all of their training, did all of their things. Guess where they thought their opening date was going to be in May? Guess when their opening date is?
When?
July.
Oh, no way.
And they signed in October. Kind of told them it was going to be in July originally. I said, let's work through this. July.
Right.
Nope, it's going to be May.
And,
okay.
And pushing for it is fine. Skipping steps to get there is just a recipe for disaster.
And sometimes trying to make it do it quickly. Thing I think we're going to talk about that's a big thing for me is your marketing, advertising, and brand building. Like, you're going to miss on a lot of pieces.
So you're not opening the door and then starting the marketing.
Right, that's a bad idea.
Right, which we are going to come to here. Actually, next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about the marketing side of things. Just know, once you sign that franchise agreement, there's so many different things that you're going to be going through before you ever get open. Take a breath and ask questions, right? So, if you would like to learn more about franchise ownership, and to see if this might be the right path for you, then reach out to our team at FranCoach, which is francoach.net. That's how you're going to find us. We'll help you figure out if this is, and if so, which is the right brand. Also check out our YouTube channel. You can see all the past episodes of this amazing TV show, plus some bonus footage, our Franchisee 101 podcast, tons of stuff. But until next week, that's Danielle Wright.
That's me.
I'm Tim Parmeter. Thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 show.